Welcome back to C8 Corvette tutorial part 10. Yes, and in this tutorial, we're going to continue with the front of the vehicle and I think the lower end all the way around. So in the last tutorial, we created this section here. Okay, and then in this tutorial, we are going to create a water line here, the water line that goes all the way. And then once we have that water line that goes all the way to the edge here, from that water line, we're gonna be able to create this triangular shape here all the way down to this point, to this edge. And from this edge, it's going to be very easy to just work on these surfaces here and these surfaces, and then get it mirrored over to the other end, get these ones done here, the front splitter, and then of course moving up to the top part of it, create a logo, and then we will get to the headlight at the end of our when we are in at the front part of the vehicle, of course. So yeah, so let's jump into Solid here, and then let's get rid of some lines. So hide this line here, hide this line here, and then jump down to here and find that point. Yeah, just hide that one as well, so everything's out of the way. There's no points here that's showing up. Okay, so the first sketch we're going to create is, let's have a look. Let's hide these lines here as well. Right, so the first sketch we're going to create is press spacebar, and then we're going to grab a 3D spline going from this point, to this corner here. But first we have to determine this point here. So to do that, let's have a look at a picture here, and let's minimize this picture. Let's minimize this picture here, something like that. It stays with us in solid, hopefully. Okay, right. So yeah, so that line, so basically we have that one here, and then that line starts from about here, and it bleeds in flash right about there. So we need a point here. Okay, so let's make a sketch on the front plane first, and let's add a point to, let's add a point here. And you can move this point around. Let's somewhere here. Okay, roughly. Let's have a look at that picture again. Yeah, so that's gonna be perfect over there. And then next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the turn the whole thing this way. Okay, and then we're gonna exit this point sketch and then grab onto our 3D sketch, and that is going to be a construction line from this point. So yeah, just press tab to change the from X to Y and Z. Y and Z. Okay, so we're just gonna pull it out straight to about here. Okay, so that's good. And then let's press spacebar, and then let's pull that line where we want it to be. All right. Okay, so basically, let's jump into our picture here for a second. And once we have that point, let's jump in here and then let's have a look at some of our pictures. Right, so that point comes in a little bit. So that point comes in a little bit to be able to create that little bit of planche here, and then which comes down and then bleeds all together. Okay, so let's do that. Let's come from the top plane here. Just click the plane and then normal to profile. And that's the edge of our surface, and then obviously the line will come from here. The line will come from here, and it will just bleeds into that. So maybe let's bring it a little bit more up, just a tiny bit, about that much. And then once we have our line that comes over here, we do a tangent relationship. Okay, so now that we have that point, determined, let's go and let's add a 3D 3D sketch of our first water line, which is going to be from this edge to all the way up to that edge. So yeah, so this upper corner here, and then we create the other sketch after. Right. Yeah, so we're going to create this line here, and then we're going to create another line. It comes from the same point, and then which will comes down, which will drops out. Let's zoom in a little bit. So yeah, so the next line is going to be from the same point, come down in that way, and then we're going to follow that line here, and then it's going to stick out a little bit more, and then we're going to add a 3D curve here to create that profile here, which will fall in to this area here, and probably we add another 3D spline here just to keep that area straight, and then have our curvature all the way to this area here. Okay, so hold on a second. Yes, so once we have that point there, so what we're going to do is get this first upper edge here. Okay, so let's get that by creating a 3D sketch. Excuse me. So 3D sketch, spline. And then we're gonna go from this corner here, and we're just gonna go all the way up to this point. Okay, and then we will create a small tangency to that area there. Okay, but first let's fix that line here. So let's click on top plane and normal to profile. Let's see. Let me see if it's still recording. Yes, we are. Let's get the line. So the first one is going to be this line here, not this outer one. That's going to be in here, this line here. We might even actually add a spline point as well. So let's pull it out to here, and then here. Let's pull this to the edge, and let's add a tangency from this edge to this line. Hold control and then make tangent. Press OK. So now that is the tangent curve. And let's have a look at our spline here, which is looking good. All right. And maybe going a little bit more like that. Okay, so that looks good. Let's have a look at the picture. All right. Okay, so that's something like that. Yep, that looks very good. Okay, maybe we can go in a little, just a tiny bit more, and then let's see. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so yeah, just manipulate it as far as you satisfied with that curvature, and then let's go from the. Let's have a look at from the side. So front plane, normal to profile, and let's bring that line up. Actually, let's get that. Let's get that. Let's get the tangency out. Delete now. Okay, so we can get to our curvature as it should look. Something like that. Okay. Let's have a look at our picture. Which picture should we? This is the picture we want. Okay, let it load up. Okay, it's a very high resolution picture actually. I'll come out here and bring the picture back. Okay, so that line there is what we are working on. So it goes from here all the way up there. Okay. So it's not too much of a curvature on that if you look at from the side. Let's bring it to about there. And yeah, that would be enough curvature from the side view. Now let's come to the top view, to the front view here, and click on that and press normal to profile, and jump in here real quick. And then let's just bring it to where we want it to be. Next thing is click on the picture here and bring the picture down to about there. Don't worry about it. You can bring it down. You can bring this picture down. As we're not really going after the blueprint, we're more going after the pictures that we have. So have this picture here sitting is a much better option. Okay, so let's come in here again and then see that curvature, and then let's exit that, and then let's just see this line here, and then see this handle, and I would say that's a good curvature from this view. All right, so let's have a look at again on from the top view just to make sure that everything is online and as it should be. And let's have a look at from the front. Normal to profile. That still looks good. That's good. Okay, and then now let's add our 3D spline here, and that 3D spline is going to go from here straight all the way up to this point here. So let's go to 3D sketch and then grab a spline, and then we're gonna go from this point to this point here, exit the sketch, and then we want to be tangent with this line here. Let's make that tangent. Actually, you don't need to be very straight. Let's go back again to 3D sketch, add the spline back from this point to that point. Okay. Well, not there actually. Let's delete that, and then let's edit from here. So spline from this point to that point there, and let's click on this line, hold control, click on this line and make tangent. Yes, now we tangent. Okay, and then let's come from the top plane here, and then let's click on this line and just take a little bit off from the tangency in this area. Let's have a look at the picture, how much tangency we have on that one. Not much, it's pretty straight, so that would be probably enough. So if we pull it down a little bit, bring that up over here, and of course we can always uh, change on that sketch if we're not happy with it. Okay, so let's keep it as it is on this sketch. Okay, and then exit this sketch, and then let's create our second sketch, and our second sketch is, let's come to the right plane here, or not sketch, just click on it, normal to profile, and then we're going to grab a 3D sketch or construction line, and then we're gonna come from this line straight down to about there. Okay, all right, and then yeah, let's bring it a little bit more up. Don't need to be we don't need too much on that one. Yeah, okay, so that's the first one. Okay, and let's have a look at the picture again, and then our second sketch Our second sketch is going to be I would say we're going to do the same thing, or yeah, we're going to do the same thing on the second sketch. So we're gonna come over here from the right plane, and this is our line that we determined, and then we're going to exit the sketch. Okay, and then let's grab a another 3D sketch with a construction line, and we want to snip on that point, and just press space bar, and then Control Z to get the line off. So let's grab that center line, I mean construction line, and then we're gonna come down to about that much. Of course, we put it there. Okay, so again, let's grab a center line, and then we wanna be on the XY plane. XY plane, that's fine. Okay, and let's measure these lines here. I want to make this water line the same size all the way around, so let's grab the measure tool, and that's what this measurement here is 1.27 millimeter. Parameters 1.27. Let's make it this one. Let's try 2, or let's try 1.5. 1.5. 1.5 looks a lot better. And then let's measure this one here, and exit this measure tool, then exit the measure tool, jump into the measure tool, measure this one. This one is a lot longer, so 1.5 on this one as well. Okay, we're gonna keep it as it is, and then see what we can do with this next spline that we're going to create. Okay, so let's grab again our 3D sketch, and that's going to be a 3D spline, and we're gonna come from this point to this point here, and then the same thing basically what we did on the other one, except this one is going to be a little bit different. So let's give this a nice profile close to the other one that we created. I bring this line a little bit up, something like that, and then let's try to be on the same curvature as that one. Okay, and now let's come from the top here. So as long as you're in the 3D sketch, and then you just turning the model around, you can manipulate your curvature. So our next curvature is going to be flash with this one, but then it pops out here and then comes in here as on the picture, as you can see here. This out that we are looking for. This is the pop out that we're looking for. The pops out, but starting to get flash at this point. Let me bring up this picture here. Let's bring up this picture. Okay, so it's let's zoom in on the front of it. Yeah, so it pops out a little bit. As you can see, it goes, it's starting to get, it's flash here, and then it pops out and it comes in. All right, so let's go after that one. So let's click on the spline so we can have these handlebars, and then bring them how we want them to be. It pops out here and stays flash on this stays flash on this edge here. We need to add a spline point somewhere around here. So let's add that spline point. So insert spline point, and let's add the spline point here. Okay, exit the spline point and click on the empty field, and then click on the spline again and press display control polygon. And now we have all these four connectors that we can work with. So let's pull this out to about here and pull this down here. And as I said before, it's flush with the other one, and it's starts to pop out from the flash right about there. And we just make sure that we manipulate this one as it should. And let's bring it a little bit more, and then okay, let's go back to that one here and bring this down a little bit here and here. So yeah, it's flash and it's starting to pop out right about that point. Okay, so that looks good from there. And now let's just double check from the front plane, normal to profile, and it's not flash as you can see. So let's grab on those connectors that we have, these yellow triangles, and make sure that our spline is perpendicular to the other spline. Don't worry about if it's the blueprint is not coexisting with the spline, because we're going after a picture and we can move around our blueprint. So something like that. You can always use curvature combs to get this straight as possible. Okay, that looks good. And then let's have a look at from the front. So there's few ways you can move around your object. Is either you press space bar and then hold middle mouse button down, and you can have all these views, or you can just click on a plane and normal to profile, and it will drops you where you need to be. Okay, so let's have a look again from the top. Basically, double, triple check is always the best, because then you know for sure that your spline is how you want it. As you can see, it's not flush here, it goes below that one. That's okay, so now that's fixed, much better. And let's have a look at from the front, from the top. Top looks good. Let's have a look at from the front here, normal to profile, flip that around, and then that looks good on that section as well. Okay, so after that one, let's exit the sketch. Okay, and then have a look at our picture here. And as you can see, this corner here gets when it gets to this end here, it gets quite close to each other. So we're gonna go with something like that. Okay, so let's jump into the front plane here, exit the sketch, front plane, normal to profile, and let's bring that line up a little bit. so it's closer to that one. But now we have to fix up our curvature. So again, just fix up the curvature as much as possible as you can. Play with it as much as you want. I mean, when it comes to surfacing, surface design, you're going to play with curves a lot, because the curves are determining your surfaces. So it's important to get them as good as possible. Again, let's have a look at from the front. Just tiny bit up. That looks good. And now let's have a look at from the top. And that looks perfect. Okay, so yeah, of course. So the next thing we need to do is we need to create this curvature here. So let's grab a separate 3D sketch. It's going to be a 3D spline, and we're gonna go from here. We're gonna go from there to up to up to this point here, that edge. Okay, so let's have a look at from the side view, and then we're going to add a tangency. Hold control, press that one, press tangent. Okay, and then that looks pretty good to me. And then if you look at, let's look at from the top, and we just need to pull it to where the other one is. Get there, something like that. Pull this a little bit out, somewhere in the middle. Okay, okay, that looks good. So exit the sketch. All right, and then now basically what we want to do is we're going to jump over our second display state here, and then we're going to add a 3D spline. Let's go to from the top, and we're going to add a 3D spline from this corner, from the straight, the widest point inwards. So let's go to 3D sketch and grab that spline, and go from this corner all the way to this edge. Okay, and then let's give this a nice profile as it is on the picture. So let's jump to our picture here, or let's have a look at maybe another picture. It gives us a better view. All right, so basically we have a straight in, and then we have a little bit of curvature to the edge. All right, because we have this line, and then so it's straight in, and then a little bit of curvature, and then it comes out to about this point, and from this point we have a straight. So we want to keep a straight here to about this point, and have our curvature starting from this full point all the way around. So let's do that. So let's jump in here and manipulate that spline that we just made. The best way to do is jump to the back view here, and then turn it around and get to that spline in the best possible way that it's straight. And I would say that this is our straightest point. Maybe if we get to when the connectors of the spline hitting the edge, maybe we get a better spline and moving things up or down. Yeah, so if you get it somewhere in the middle, somewhere, okay, and then click on this spline here, and as we said, um, let's just turn a bit. Yes, so now we are okay. Oh, hold on a second. So yeah, so we want to be in the middle as much as we can on that section, and we want to get those 2 points to be at the very edge. Okay, it depends how good your mouse is. I lost my trackball mouse, but trackball mouse is usually the best. So okay, so that's the maybe yeah, that's the best we can do here right now. Okay, so as we said, we have a straight line coming in from this angle here. We have a straight line coming in from this angle, and we have a curvature in this area here, as you can see. All right, so that curvature, something like that, and then we have a straight in. We could add a spline point here, but that would make it very sharp, and there's not much sharpness there. Okay, so let's pull in a little bit more and get flush with that, so make sure that we're not falling in below that one. Okay, those two lines. Okay, so yeah, that looks good to me, and then that looks good to me, so that's going to be our first profile. And as we talked about, it gets straightens out somewhere about here. So we're just going to press spacebar, get to the front of this whole thing, and grab a spline. And then we're going to grab a spline from here to here. And then we are going to add a little bit of profile to this one, just so that we don't have any warpage. And then just a tiny bit. That's about it. Okay, that's good. And then now, we're going to try and then do a surface, boundary surface. So let's grab a selection manager with the right click and select this line and this line, and then press OK. And then again, selection manager, select this line and then this line, press OK. And then let's flip these connectors. So stay on one of these connectors and say flip connectors. Okay, so now we have the surface there. So all we have to do now is add our profiles. So direction 2 is going to be our profile number 1. And then another direction here, so the curvature doesn't go all the way to the end. It's going to be this profile here. I straightened it out, and it starts to curve in at this point here. Okay, so press OK on this one and see what surface we have. Okay, so our surface looks good. Let's have a look at from the top. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then come in here and just have a look what we have here. That's touching where it should be. Touching its course, that water line. Okay. You might need to add a second curvature, a second curve here just to straighten it out a little bit, because that curvature is just follows through all the way and curves it in a bit too much. So let's have a look at the picture again. And indeed, that curvature does straighten out. So let's help that. So let's delete this boundary surface here and go to our sketch. Let's just create a separate sketch. We're going to create that sketch from the side view here. We want to straighten it out somewhere around here, so let's go to a 3D sketch. Let's grab a spline, and then let's grab it from here to here, and then let's add this small spline, a little bit of profile as well. We're going to bring it inwards, something like that. Okay, so now let's have a look what surface we get this time. Exit the sketch, and then let's go to surface, boundary surface, selection manager. Let's choose this spline. Press OK. Selection manager again with the right click. Select this line and this line. Press OK. Hover over one of these connectors and just right click and flip the connectors. And our direction to the first one is going to be this one here, and then the second one is going to be this one here, and then our third one is going to be this one here. Press OK on that one, and I want to see if this one registered. Spline here, it did. Press OK on that, and then now we have a lot better surface now here to work with. Okay, so our curvature does stop there, and it bends in here, and then stops at this edge here, so we can knit everything together as we should. However, we can maybe make this straighter, so we'll see how we get with that one. Okay, so the now we can move on from this corner to create the triangle that goes all the way up to this corner. So let's have a look at the picture first. So that basically we created this small surface here. So from this corner, this will determine this corner. This will determine our this area here that comes down. Obviously, we're going to create from this corner here all the way up this corner, and which wraps around into that. So this small surface here that comes in and out. But first we have to determine this point here. Okay, so let's do that. And before we go any further, make sure you save. And let me have a look. It's still recording. Yes, we are. Okay, and then let's bring in the first display state here quickly. And let's just hide some sketches that we're not using. So let's hide that one as well. All right, that's good. And then we need to determine that point. So let's make a sketch on the front plane, normal to profile. And then, so we're going to make a sketch here. let's make a sketch here. Grab a spline and sketch from here to here, and then bring the spline up. Something like that. Okay, so that's one, and then exit the sketch. And the second one is going to be obviously this line here. So let's sketch on the top plane, so normal to profile. And because it's almost flush with this line here, we're going to convert this edge. Press OK. And let's just pull it all the way back here like that. Exit this sketch and exit this sketch. And then let's do projection curve, sketch on sketch. Make sure you have that selected. Select these two lines and then press OK. All right. So now we have that determined, so we can work with that and add our point on that surface there. Okay, let's go to second display state just to check. Okay, let's jumping into the first one. Let's click on front plane, normal to profile, and that line is right where it needs to be. Okay, so the line that we're going to create is going to come somewhere around here, and then we're gonna come all the way down to this area and then come into this area here. So let's add a 3D point on that sketch. So 3D sketch, 3D point, and let's add that point. Let's add that point somewhere around here. Exit the sketch, and then the next thing we need to determine after we exit the sketch is click on front, normal to profile, is we need to make a sketch that's go from this edge, something like that. So let's grab a 3D sketch, and this is going to be a construction line, a center line. So let's go from this edge and go all the way up to this point here. And as we can see on the picture, let's zoom in on that area. As you can see, that line is not straight down but straight in. We will add chamfers when we have the surfaces done. So let's come to this sketch here and then pull it where we like that to be, and somewhere like that, and something like this. Okay, and then now we just want to get on the top plane here quickly. Press normal to profile. Let me see if we're still recording. Yes, we are. And we want to make this line perpendicular to this edge. So let's take this point and then just pull that line in if we could. And let's edit the sketch. It won't let us turn it that way. So let's grab another spline, center line, and make it from that point perpendicular to that line there. Okay. Exit the sketch, and let's have a look at our point there. And let's delete that one. Okay. Let's go back and maybe bring it a bit more out because I think it's a bit too sharp. And it goes here. No, that's actually good. Okay, maybe it could be a bit smaller. Oh, let's have a look from the side. So click on the front plane, normal to profile, and then and now we can move it. Okay, so that's good. Somewhere here, just add a little bit of uh, thing to it. So let's have a look again from the top view, and we are still in good shape. Okay, so let's exit the sketch, and then now we have these lines. We have these points determined. Let's jump in here and then let's grab a 3D sketch and a 3D spline, and then we're gonna go from this edge uh, to this. Well, let's add a few points here. Uh, Maybe here, here, this point here, and then and this point here. Okay. And now all we have to do is just fix up this curve, which is going to be a little while. So let's have a look from the top, from the front here, from the front here. Okay. So click the line and press Control Polygon and grab one of these connectors so we can pull it into shape. Mm -mm 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 -mm. Put this down here. Yeah. So this connector here is a bit too high for us, and this connector here is a bit too high for us. And then let's pull that down. I have it. Okay, so just play with this line as much as you want, so it will come down like that. We will hide this line in a minute, and then let's add this the way it should look. So like that. Yeah, a lot of people are using freeform in creating surfaces in SolidWorks, because in SolidWorks 2020 now you can indeed use freeform. So why not? You know, try it, see if you like freeform. I'm not a big fan of it. I like to work with splines and then surfaces. Okay, so that looks good to me so far from this angle here. And let's have a look at from the top. Of course, it's like that. And let's grab that connector and just pull that there. And then, of course, the line is flush with our surface. So let's have that line as well. Fix it. Let's pull this connector where it's supposed to be. And that's good there. And then, yeah, so basically it needs to be flush with the edge of this edge here. Let's have a look at the picture again. Okay, so that line. Okay, yeah, it's flush with the other surface all the way. Okay, and because it's coming from that angle. Okay, so let's go to top view here again and come over here and make sure that we are flush with that edge, that green line there. Okay, something like that. Okay, now let's have a look at from the side here. And from the side, it looks pretty good. Maybe we can just bring it a little bit up like that. Bring it a little bit up this way. Okay, that looks good. And again, triple and double check always. Flip around. That looks good from here. Maybe we can bring this in a little bit more. That looks good. And let's have a look again from this angle. And that looks good from this angle as well. We can bring this line in, but we're not going to. And that looks good there as well. Okay. And then so far we looked at from all angle. Let's have a look again from the top view. And yes, you can see we moved it a little bit. So let's pull it back out to that edge. Okay. And so that's why it's good to always double and triple check as much as you want. So again, once you manipulate in one place, just go through all around, and that looks good here. And let's have a look at from the front again. uh, okay, let's have a look at from the front. Front plane, come on, grab the front plane, not the right plane, and then normal to profile, flip it around, and that looks good here as well. Okay, so now let's jump over to our second display state, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add a 3D spline onto this construction line. So let's go to 3D sketch, 3D spline, and then we're going to go from here to here, and then we're going to add a little bit of profile to that. Okay, just a tiny bit of profile, and just pull it out, something like that. Don't need much. Okay, and then exit this sketch, and then the next sketch we need to add is going to be from this corner all the way up to this corner here. So 3D sketch, 3D spline, and just try to stay on this edge as much as possible. to the edge. Okay, exit this sketch, and then exit this sketch. And we're not going to add another curvature here at this point because this will determine that bandage. Okay, so let's hide that, and then let's try to add our surface now. Let's try boundary surface. Yeah, so let's try boundary surface here. So surface, boundary surface, and let's choose this section here. Instead, let's try selection manager and select that edge all the way through to that edge there, and then press OK, and then selection manager this edge and this edge here, and press OK. I'll wait for it to generate it. Okay, and then for direction 2, we're going to use our 3D sketch. And let's have a look at our surface. Because it was self-intersecting geometry. All right. And so let's have a look at that for a second. So let's have a look at the self-intersecting geometry. It should be because of that line here. So let's edit this sketch and come from the front plane. And then select the connectors here and just pull it down, and then pull it down so we have better. Okay, that's good. Exit the sketch, and then we'll look at this here. Okay, and then right. So let's grab another 3D sketch here. 3D sketch, spline, and let's just make that sketch onto this sketch here. Try to make as much connections as you can at this point. And then to the corner there. Okay, that one stayed there. So let's try our boundary surface now. Surface, boundary surface. So let's choose this edge, this sketch, and then selection manager. Let's choose this edge and continuing, and press OK. And for direction 2, we're going to choose this edge here. Okay, and press OK. And now we have our surface. So it looks like we have a little bit of warpage there because of this going in a little bit too much. But we will deal with that in the next tutorial because it's already too long, this tutorial. So let's just mirror this over to the other end and see how it looks, and then on the next tutorial I'll fix up that issue. So mirror that entity, and then front plane and bodies to mirror, and then this one as well. and then press OK. All right. So now we have the some of the lower section of our Corvette C8 one. All right. So we leave it here, and I'll see you back in the next tutorial to fix up this area here. Okay, and then to come down all the way down to this corner. All right. So see you then.